Hello friends, thank you for being with me once again. I know it's been a while and I've always been desiring to get back to producing videos for you again, but you know how life is sometimes. The unexpected happens. But thank God you are alive, thank God we are still here in spite of whatever challenges you've gone through. And I'm believing that this short time I'm going to share with you is going to be rewarding. I'm believing that it's going to add value to your life. My name remains Robert Ntefon. Incidentally, life is not always the way we plan it to be. It's not always what we wish it should be. And many times when those situations or circumstances happen, the unplanned things happen to us, and many times they are not very favorable. Those are the ones that make us ask questions like, why me? Now, that reminds me, as a little boy, just maybe about 3 years or thereabout, and the civil war broke out in Nigeria. You can imagine how tiny I was then. And here was my mom having to grapple with my immediate elder brother, myself, and we had ran into this village where we thought was going to be a place, a hideout. We all ran away from home. And I can still remember, I recollect that at one point I had too much of gunshots. They were shooting and we didn't know whether we were in front of them or behind them, gunshots in the midnight. And we had hardly rested or sat down to relax when the gunshots started again in the midnight. We arrived at village, and it wasn't long with my childhood memory. I can still remember a few things. And then I remember that one of the things I did was just busted out and was crying. And I said, why was I born at this time? It doesn't really sound horrifying as it was to my mom, because I used my mother's tongue. I used my dialect to say what I've just said now. Now, can you imagine the heart of a mother with your little child lamenting that way? It must have cut my mother's heart. She must have been desperate. Now, that's what I'm talking about. Talking about asking the right question. See, question can be very powerful. Not can be. Question is always very powerful. Question will eventually direct the thoughts that will come after that. Question can determine the direction of the conversation. Question can direct the solutions, or can direct you to the solutions you find. But the scary part of it is that bad questions many times produce bad answers. You need to become more aware of that. When you ask bad questions, you are likely going to get bad answers. The other side of it is also true. When you ask powerful questions, when you ask positive questions, when you have life-enhancing questions, when you ask questions that will challenge the potential you have, the good things that are in you, you begin to see them, you begin to become aware of what can be possible. There are questions that you ask and they are very disempowering. There are questions that you ask. I'm not talking about the one that others ask you, because you can refuse to answer. You can refuse to tell the person, okay, give me some time to think about it. But I mean the ones that you ask yourself. When you ask yourself these empowering questions, they stand to provoke hopeless situation. They invoke on you hopelessness. They make you begin to see impossibilities. And the moment you get into that atmosphere of hopelessness, it kills creativity. You are hardly going to be creative. You are hardly going to think of anything positive that you can do. So it's as good as saying, see, it's all over. Why am I bringing that up? The reason is very simple. You need to know how to ask empowering questions. You need to know how to stop asking, why me? And begin to ask questions that say, how can I turn this circumstance around? The more challenging your situation, the more powerful your testimony. Take that again. The more challenging your situation is, the more difficult your situation is, the more outstanding will your testimony be. People will want to pay you to hear how you turn the situation around. They want to pay you to listen to your testimonies. Here we are today. Many people believe that everything we need to have the peace of mind, that everything that will make life worth the while is outside there. And because this is also empowered mostly by the things that you hear, the kind of seed that is sowed into your mind and into your heart, the kind of things that you've been pondering upon, either because of what you are taught or the things that you have also admired from a distance or what you have been paying attention to. Could be songs, could be books, could be anything, could be what you've seen on the billboard, and you ask the wrong questions. An example of the wrong question is there in Romans chapter 10 verse 6. It says, using my paraphrase, who will go up into heaven to bring Christ down so he can help me? Or who will go into the grave and bring him up? Who will go right down there and bring Christ up so I can find help? But here is the question you should ask. The question we should ask should sound something like this. It is not compulsory. You don't have to. But it's all about the concept. It's not about the definitions. The question should be something like this. How can I find the solution to this problem? How can I find a way out of my present situation? That is empowering question. See, because your mind is now going to be stirred up to become alert to how it can be done. Not why is it me? Why must it always be me? Could be you because you are the next person to have a testimony that will turn your life around and change the attitude of others. Maybe it has to be you, so that when you share your testimonies, others will be motivated, others will be encouraged, others will hear and they will know how to trust God, will know that it's not all over. There are people, in fact, yesterday I was just watching one very motivating video. A man who had an accident, and because his physician had said, there's nothing you can do anymore, this cannot happen, you can't even walk. But gradually, the man started, in fact, he met somebody else who did not know him, but the doctor this time believes in possibilities and trusted him. He let him know that he had faith in him, in his belief that he believes that things would change if he himself believed. The man believed that and believed that he also can walk into that freedom. I tell you, most of the sicknesses that we are having as human beings in our body it's not because any witch is against you. It's because we've not been able to ask that empowering question. We've not been able to ask the empowering question of, what can I do? Okay, what would Jesus do if he was to be in my situation? Okay, what's the mind of the Father concerning this? Incidentally, many people will tell you he actually wants you to die so that he can teach you a lesson. He wants your head to get incensed so that you can learn something spiritual. I don't believe in that stuff. Listen to me. It's time to ask the right kind of question. See, when people were asking that, right in the Old Testament, it's just repeated in the New Testament. In the Old Testament, it said, don't think who will go up there to bring him down, or who will go into the depth. And then he says, this is how the help, supernatural help, whether about you are standing with God, about anything. This is the concept. The concept is the solution is very near you. So if you're asking to know, how can I live and have a right standing with God and still be all that I can be in life? This is the concept. The answer to this is nearer than you ever could imagine. It says the answer is in your heart, and the answer is in your mouth. Many times we try to capture the power of what we're talking about, and so we just talk. Sometimes you have memorized it and you keep saying it. The challenge with that is many people don't repeat it long enough. Because if you repeat it long enough and you mean it, you see the possibility, you see that actually happen, then you can be sure it will happen the second time. Because that first time you are able to capture it in your imagination, settles it. The second time is going to be when it is physically done. Now, the aspect of confessing it to possess it is not like many people have been teaching. It's not like many people have told you that, you see, you just confess it and it comes to pass. You and I know that that is not true, that it's not been working that way. Why is it that some people confess and it works, and some confess and it doesn't? Listen, you don't need to have the gift of faith. You don't need to have the gift of miracles to bring this to pass. It's a principle, it's a law, and it is not responding to any sentiment or emotion. How this works is that God has designed that when your heart and my one, when your heart is persuaded, what does that mean? When your heart is convinced. Maybe another way to put it is, when your heart trusts in that thing, when it trusts in that thing. And the good thing about the heart, which is also dangerous on the other hand, but the good side of it is, the heart does not know whether it is bad or good. When your heart believes, it puts you in an automated mode. It makes it automatic. That even though your head reasons differently, eventually what is in your heart, in the right environment, will come to pass. In the right environment, it will surely manifest. You will read in Hebrews chapter 11, and it talks about Abraham and Sarah, and talks about how Sarah was persuaded in her heart, even so Abraham. But you see, the point is, their hearts were persuaded. He mentioned others whom, because their hearts were persuaded, said, I'd rather die than have anything different. That's the way it is. That's how it works. That with the heart man believes unto a right standing with God. That word righteousness that I've just pronounced as, or I've just stated as right standing with God, also means life as it should be. So that's how it is. With the heart man believes unto life as it should be, and with the mouth you make the confession to see it happen. If you are living with a desire to see God's word come to pass in your life, take out some time. It's worth the investment. Invest the time into God's word. And don't ask, how can this ever be? The question to ask is, how can I apply this? See, when the student is ready, the teachers will appear. I believe it. Because you now become aware of the things you've never been aware of before. Reason? Your mind will help you to filter out and only see what you want to see. And only see what you desire to see. You will find what you are looking for. And my prayer is that you find the right thing. That you desire for the right things. See, Jude verse 6 says that your own communication is going to become more effective. And the reason is that there are good things in you. And all you need to do, all we need to do is acknowledge the good things that are in you. People will try to talk you out of it. They want you to remain the way you are. They feel you are overstretching this matter. Why would you believe such thing? See, nothing is impossible to the person that believes. I pray that from today you begin to ask the right questions because they are right answers. God bless you. Have a very fruitful day. And if you have never visited my website before, please do so. And my website is www.robertntefon.com. Say that again. www.robertntefon.com. Now, if you live in the city of London, I want to invite you, come to Walter Pomeroy Hall, and that is in Uxbridge, just by Hillingdon Hospital. You will find a road there called Royal Lane. On Royal Lane, you will find that hall, Walter Pomeroy Hall, and I look forward to seeing you there the last Sunday in September. We have a seminar there, and the title is How to Overcome Personal Limitations. Incidentally, personal limitations are not really outside. They are on the inside. They are in the unseen side of us, where people cannot see. And the moment you are able to gain those personal victories, I tell you, it's a lot easier. It's a lot easier to have walkovers. It's a lot easier to overcome your challenges. It's a lot easier to find fulfillment in the things that are meant to be on the inside of you. See, nobody in this world can give you permanent joy and gladness. But we have been so trained to believe that your joy and gladness is in somebody's hand. That's the kind of thing we are talking about. It does not matter what you are facing now, with the power that is in you. And we are out to teach you that based on God's word. Everything we do is based on God's word. And as you yield yourself, you will see that things change. And that will be to the glory of God, for the benefit of humanity. And the devil will be ashamed forever. Look forward to seeing you in my next presentation. God bless you and have a blessed day.